Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure enough.
Shogun. Crunch. Cease.
This is Show's road. Move it.
I said beat it!
And so, we begin. I'm Captain Nala Ake, Chancellor of Starfleet Academy. We're all the first Academy class to return to our campus in San Francisco after more than 120 years. Some of you are here for your families, some for yourselves. Together, you are the best and the brightest from across the galaxy. A tapestry that is Starfleet. You will learn the skills that shaped our greatest officers.
Duty, honor, service.
Like them, we'll ask you to give more of yourselves than you knew you had. To dream without limitations. Whatever challenges came before today led you to this moment. You here now. You weave together the future. So go out and seek, explore, boldly go where no one has gone before. It is my great honor to welcome you all to Starfleet Academy.
I made a video called "What is this shit?" or "What the fuck is this shit?" I made a video about that Fantastic Four movie and shit, and how there wasn't any real black people in there. There was some tethers in there, and if you had to look real hard to find the tethers, other than the main actress, who was some she was a tether, like a British actress. She was from the UK. Whatnot. I'm not saying her name. I don't give a fuck. Every time I look her up, I see her in a fat black mammy role. Every time I look her up, either that or some kind of something designed to demoralize fans of the franchises that she appears in and whatnot. A lot of times, white liberals who are actually racist as fuck themselves, or even worse, they use black women as crash test dummies. Okay, black women and gay black men as crash test dummies to just wage psychological warfare on, I guess, everybody that's not them and shit. Okay, there's some weird shit they do. Okay, I ain't gonna even lie. During my almost 30 years in California and shit, I experienced a lot of weird social experiments. That people were trying to conduct on me and shit, not realizing I was self-aware. It's the thing I touched on in the past, that I was actually self-aware most of my life, and just, kind of looking in outside the window of my own experience and shit, because it was so incredulous and shit. And after a while, it was boring and shit, watching people react to the person that they thought I was, or the person they think I am currently and shit. I think, these channels that I have give people a more adequate representation of who I am as a person and shit, just how I think, very analytically and everything. And it was a survival, instinct and shit to just stay invisible for a while. until I could find my way out of this shit. It didn't even intend to do that originally and shit. You know, but we'll talk about that later and shit. I want to get back on some more representation and shit. Okay, as I'm not trying to land on any political side, right or left, because everything is in extremes now. You notice how there's no fucking middle to anything. There's no middle, and being an artistic, a very creative person and shit, it is perplexing and somewhat disorienting to me on a creative level to look at this extremism and shit. It's also very funny. Okay, so a lot of people don't know. You see my channel, and the manner that it exists, and you assume one thing about it and shit. But originally, I just was gonna do like everybody else and just talk about movies and shit I was into and shit. Then I just kind of drifted over into this shit because of forces beyond my ken. Man, because of some extreme adversity and shit, it became a coping mechanism and a vehicle for me to vent and talk earnestly and shit for once and shit, and out into the real world to actually speak. It's incredibly liberating to be able to be yourself, and speak openly and shit. Okay, and especially in an echo chamber and shit. I'm not so much in an echo chamber. All right. I don't begrudge anyone anything. I'm a live and let live kind of person and shit. And I also find some things very funny, like these photos here. Okay. The last time I was on here, I was talking about that fucking Fantastic Four First Steps movie, how it was set in an alternate universe where there apparently was no civil rights movement or slavery or any of that kind of shit. Or no, and you just saw like the one smiling mammy, like a big fat ass mammy that was, embarrassingly cringe, even for the most, the greatest coons of blacks and tethers and shit. She was reaching the new levels in the Fantastic Four shit. She presented as someone that believed the bullshit. She forced herself to believe that, she was a part of the majority population and shit, that they saw her as something other than a minority. And a little while ago, I saw this Star Trek trailer from a convention that's going on in San Diego. It's called the Comic Con and shit. I'm assuming that most of the people watching this shit ain't into that kind of stuff. Yeah. Some people are old enough to remember it used to be a show called Star Trek, and it had William Shatner on there and Leonard Nimoy. They're like Captain Kirk and Spock and shit, and they did a reboot. Woke ass reboot and fucked it all up and shit. It's just been trash and garbage. Okay, it's been this. One of the ways of breaking down the society, besides what they're doing in our community, the black community and shit, is by attacking and destroying things that you are familiar with, things that are a part of your childhood, a part of your culture and whatnot. They break that down, they repurpose it, and they represent it and shit, and shove it in your face. They shove it down your throat until you can't take it anymore. And some people either break or they just find themselves outside on the fringe with me. All right? So these 3 pictures represent some of that, what I'm talking about and shit. This is from a new show called Starfleet Academy and shit. It's done by an idiot, or a team of idiots and shit. It's done by a team of idiots. I'm not going to go into the background or anything. I just want you to look at, these characters. She got this one sister here who reminds me of she looks like she came from the same block as the chick they got to play fucking Ironheart. I don't know if she's, from the alternative community, but I can hazard a guess. It's not because she's overweight. I'm looking at the 2 Afro puffs on her hair and shit. I want to say something about them fucking uniforms. The gray uniform, the yellow highlight and shit is kind of, boring, But, you got this big face sister who might be part Asian or something. I don't know. It's a sister, though. Whatnot. I was just laughing my ass off because they showed her doing some kind of weird dancing like in the hallway. She's doing like she was. These might as well be tap dancing. Why don't they just make her tap dance and shit? And then I saw like coming out of a party. That's what they do nowadays and shit. This is supposed to be a military school, like West Point or something in the future and shit. To be quite honest, if anybody knows anything about that and shit these days, everybody got their head up their phone. Yeah, this kind of short, chunky sister. Yeah, you have to have a fat black woman, preferably gay as fuck and angry. You know, she got to be angry and righteous, or if she's not angry, she's got to be disarmingly androgynous and shit. Much like how they do the black males that appear in these shows and whatnot. They can't have any sexual interest or exude any kind of charisma and shit. You know, like a Wesley Snipes or somebody, or Denzel. You can't have none of that shit. Right? So, you know, I don't know if she's gay or not, but I know she can tap dance. And, you know, I seen her coming out of a party and arms linked up with some girl that looked like a fake ass friend. You know, I didn't post a picture of the chick. It wasn't important to post it. It's like an Asian Latina woman. They even gave her the brown hair and those weird eyebrows and shit, even though she was like kind of maybe an alien or something. And she had chola eyebrows. I was like, man, fuck y'all, man. They be so racist in fucking Hollywood. I just laugh my ass off. They think they're doing some cool shit. It's not fucking cool, okay? It's cringe, it's racist and shit. Yeah, the left, okay? The left, I want to say that. And fuck the right, too. Alright, I'm going to skip over the picture in the middle. I'm going to skip over that shit. I'm going to go to picture right and shit. That's a black male. That is a male. It looks like a male. It's a Klingon, okay? Last time I seen the Klingon and shit, the thing you know was Michael Dorn. He played Worf. He played Worf, sorry. He's a cool character. You know, don't look that shit up. It's not worth it because they don't fucking care. It's not about representation. They always talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a total bullshit words. Those are, you know, signal words for the racist left wing. Okay? And I hate saying that. I'm throwing up in my mouth saying left wing, right wing, all that kind of political bullshit. When they're just hacks, they have no creativity. They don't care about what they're doing. There's nothing going into that. There's no idealism. There's no creativity. There's no thought behind it. It's just a product and shit because the rich trust fund babies that are working on this shit, they don't think shit of you. Okay? They don't see you. They don't understand you. They can't relate to you. And they're the ones getting these jobs through nepotism and religious faith and shit, if you get my drift. And they're just shitting the bed and destroying pop culture. You know, fucking up society and shit. Alright? So I want to get back on this brother and shit, okay? That's supposed to be a Klingon. Anybody ever watched Star Trek? You know the Klingons are like hyper aggressive and dangerous and shit, you know? And they people always take care not to get them riled up and shit because they just go off the deep end and crash out and fuck up everything and shit. But when you see this, if you look at the trailer, look at the camera dollies in close on his face, and you know he's probably zesty. He's sassy. Okay, I'm using code words and shit. I think he's a member of the community and shit. They even show him sitting whimsically in a window and shit with like these. He had some shoes on and shit, and they were platform shoes. I was like, I thought it's a military. You know, he's wearing his uniform, but he's wearing like some Doc Martens or something. With a big ass heel on it, because I guess they needed him to have some height and shit. He looks zesty as fuck, man. I was like, why don't they just give him a pair of titties and call it a day? But then, you know, if they did that shit, you know, if they did that, then we wouldn't have to talk about the picture in the middle. We wouldn't have to talk about the picture in the middle and shit, okay? I'm just gonna go and briefly speak on this picture in the middle and shit before I lose my shit. Alright, the alien that you see here in the red. As far as the whole Star Trek shit goes, this particular alien is supposed to be a man, okay? It's supposed to be a man. There's a race of aliens that are all dudes, and they're more violent than a Klingon and anything else and shit, okay? They're more violent than, it take like a whole shitload, it take like almost the Avengers Endgame of motherfuckers in this show to stop these assholes from destroying everything and shit. The only thing that they bow down to is an androgynous, weird other alien shit that they think is their god and shit. And those things don't give a fuck either. So this is obviously a big fat ass black woman. And you know, I know you just see this bitch from the front, but she has some box braids in the back. She has some box braids in the back and shit. Okay? Yeah, it's a fat black lady. It's a fat motherfucker. And it's a close-up picture, but she's walking with her back all stiff and shit, and her shoulders all tight, and it reminded me of when Monique won that Oscar for Precious, and she was just like I got an Oscar, you know, speech and shit to no one who cared in the entire fucking audience and shit. We see this all the time on social media. That same motherfucking look, that fucked up look and shit. But what's more important than that fucked up look and the fact that she's a big, gigantic, fat motherfucker in this makeup and shit is the fact that beneath that is a tether in a notorious tether in Hollywood. And I think her name is Gina Yashir or some shit like that. And I don't care if I'm fucking up her name. But she was one of the producers and stars of that show, Bob Abu, some Nigerian show on CBS. Right? Bob Abishola, some shit. Yeah, fuck it, you look it up. Okay? She was one of the stars on there. She was executive producer. She's a supposed comedian and actress and shit. And people hate her ass. You know, regular foundational black Americans hate the fuck out of this woman because she says grimy shit about regular black people on all the social media platforms and shit. She was taking a task and then she dipped out for a minute and, you know, tried to wait till, you know, the blast, you know, subsided. And then she thought she could sneak in a comedy store doing like one of her anti-foundational black American routines. And there was some black people in there that stood up and started yelling at her. And she said some more shit. And she just, you know, fuck it, man. I thought, you know, the black people were right to do that. The only thing they fucked up was they didn't bring any rotten fruit to throw at her fucking ass. But this fat motherfucker that creeped up in Star Trek and shit. And I guess she figured, like, since she wearing this makeup, there ain't nobody gonna call her on that. I'm gonna call you on that, motherfucker. It's a tether. They had, like, hey, look, I'm not against no people from the, you know, the supposed motherland of the continents and shit, or the UK. I'm not against y'all, man, but some of y'all have to be out of pocket. And we supposedly live in a polite society, so, you know, you can't be physically corrected when you're out of pocket with us the way you probably should be. You should just knuckle up and shit, man. We're getting tired, man. I'm tired of all this talking and word salad with you people. Okay, I'm tired of this shit, but they get all the preferential treatment and shit, and they get to talk shit and thumb their nose and say they're better than us and this, that, and the other. We're slaves and all that shit, but you want to come to slave quarters and live here and make your dime and dollar, you know, being ops mostly, right? I think all three of these motherfuckers might be telling us. Who the fuck knows? Who cares? And it's all shit, right? It's all going in the toilet and shit, but this bad motherfucker in the middle make her dime and dollar fucking with us. And she made a show. If you want to go look at that shit, Bob Abishola or whatever the fuck, you can go look up that show. It's about a Nigerian medical practice, like a nurse, a care nurse that's in love with this gigantic fat white dude that look like John Candy's illegitimate kid and shit, who has a heart condition because he's morbidly obese. And she looks at him lovingly and, you know, sucking her lips and shit, looking at him, I want some white Mazunga, you know, peen and shit off this, you know, white dude and shit. If they could just give him an injection and make him get hard and give me a biracial baby. I'm being facetious, okay? She did make the show. It is cringe. I don't know why the fuck it's on CBS or who it's aimed at. I don't know any old white people that want to watch some shit like that. Even old white men don't want to fuck these black chicks and shit, you know, no matter what they tell us and shit. They just do it because they're there. They would love to get like a blonde, young blonde, blue-eyed woman and shit, you know. Back in the day, call it a candy stripe, but they don't make those no more. You get these fucked up, you know, bust down sisters and shit that's, you know, up in a medical field just for a bag. They don't care about shit. Alright? They don't care about shit. I hate to go on a tangent. Yeah, but this chick is the first. They say she's a biracial in the show. She's like a half of a Klingon. That's that gay nigga on the far corner of this photo. She's half of that and half of the other shit. So Jim Hadar, which is the shit she's supposed to be, fucked another angry fucking race and made this bitch. Hey, it makes sense to me, right? I love those big ass 3D nostrils too. Okay, love that shit. Yeah, even though she's wearing that makeup, you know, you look real close, you can see her sneering under there and shit. She probably thinking about some regular black people and how she would like to call them the N-word and set fire to their fucking house and shit. This woman that said some fucked up shit about black people. Okay? She said some fucked up shit about black people. I don't give a fuck. She ain't getting no pass for that shit from me. I wish I could go further and shit. I'm probably canceled anyway. I don't give a fuck, man. I'm in my 50s. Alright? I'm in my 50s. I'm a live and let live guy and shit. Okay? But more often than not, we are not afforded the same liberties and freedoms and shit, interpersonally and otherwise and shit, to just go on our own way and shit. Alright? We have people here continually, you know, hitting the beehive with a broomstick and shit, okay? And then when they get stung, they want to bitch and, you know, yell cancel and all this shit. And this is not even supposed to be a political rant. I just feel that both houses are politically insolvent at this point because they do the same shit. There's no change. There's no competence. There's nothing competent, you know, under the engine and shit. You look under there and you see the ground staring up at you. That's America right now. Okay? And one of the things we know, you can tell what's going on in the country. If you go look in the black community and look at what's going on there, which is an absolute shit show. It's a dystopian future already. We're there already. And the other thing, you know, you can go look at the culture, you know, inside and outside of our community and shit. And outside of our culture, you know, the biggest thing is like pop culture and intellectual properties that have been around for decades that these motherfuckers inherited through nepotism or, you know, sucking a dick or something. They're doing some weird shit. And they don't know what the fuck they're doing and shit. They're incompetent. All the competent people in Hollywood are just, if they're rich, they're just chilling and shit. Probably overseas in another country, you know, kicking back and shit and saying fuck it, you know. And if they're not, you know, they're just somewhere collecting a check. Alright, that's what we've become the swap meet of the world. Alright, and you get bottom feeders and, you know, people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're coming in here to get opportunities, mostly just to spite regular black people that actually go to school and do shit. They don't represent us in any fucking way, especially not the fucking men. Black men are not represented on TV. We got gay men and sexually ambiguous motherfuckers and just, you know, neuters, okay? Dickless wonders and shit that masquerade as black men in these shows, okay? And you know, for more on that, just look at the motherfucking, the one dude in the picture, okay? One dude in the picture, the gaydar is just going off. Going off. I'm done. Fuck this show. Fuck the people behind the show or shit, okay? If you want to see anything competent, you're going to have to do it yourself. And I do not mean that bullshit on Tubi, okay? That shit on Tubi is not worth being supported. Alright, I think I'll make a video about that next and shit at some point. I'm out. Good night, Kings.
Say, why don't you pick on somebody your own disposition?
Oh, please, Mr. Barroom Brawler. Don't hurt me or anything like that.